gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to this series. We are restoring a vintage Belgium Browning 16 gauge standard model auto 5 shotgun. Enjoy the grinch. Jesus loves you, my brother.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You're watching a video series. This is the third video in the series of a 4-part video series. This video is about prepping metal for rust bluing. All we're doing is basically sanding and polishing. We're going to work on some pits. We're going to work on removing some surface rust and prepping this barrel, the receiver, and the trigger guard for rust bluing. So hope you enjoy what I put together. I also hope you know that Jesus Christ loves you, and I also hope you know that I love you as well, and that I appreciate you checking out my channel. Thank you for being here. We have some small little rust spots. Should not be a problem. Some of this stuff shouldn't be any problem at all. Some of it, when it gets onto the engraving, is going to be a problem. We've got one really big spot that is probably going to be frustrating to me, and it looks like this. That spot's probably going to be frustrating because it's in the engraving. Man, I don't know how to engrave, so I'm going to do my best to preserve and save it. This one's going to be a problem. It is what it is, though, guys. I'm not perfect. This is a learning thing for me just as much as you guys watching, unless you are some severe experts. This one is going to be, I don't even have you on camera. This one is going to be a real big problem. That's probably my biggest, man, I should have raised my tripod up. All right, this is going to be my biggest problem. Because you see the engraving. That is what's going to give me a problem. I don't know if we will be able to save that engraving. Me and you are going to figure this out. We and you are going to see that together. So all in all, you could see up and down this receiver, there is plenty enough rust to go around, but not something that's so bad that's unsalvageable. An expert will knock this out in probably a few hours. We are not experts. We are learning, and so you're going to have to, if you're watching this and you continue to watch it, you're going to have to watch me do some frustrating things while I go around the learning curve and figure this out for myself. You're watching me do some of my first bluing, so I'm hoping that eventually it will get better. But until then, this is what you get. You're left with mediocrity, subpar, and a lot of simple mistakes that a professional or somebody that does this very regularly would be able to address and knock out really quickly. Really easy stuff for some of these guys. Don't give up. Don't be discouraged. Be of good cheer, brother. That's what I'm trying to incite in your minds as you guys are learning and going through this with me. All right, enough of that. You come here to watch me fail or succeed at removing this rust and rust bluing the shotgun. So let's get started, shall we? I don't know what to start at.
The order I used: heavy pits mostly on barrel, 180 grit, 1, 220 grit, 2, 320 grit, 3, 600 grit, 4, steel, comma, 5 dot closing parenthesis buffing pad.
And some people may think this is crazy right here when I've got 220 grit sandpaper. And the only reason why I've got 220 grit is because I've got some serious stuff that I need to take off. What I have gathered, at least surmised, is that for the most part, you don't actually, when you're working metal, you don't go with the grain.
Do not sand horizontally. You will see faint scratches. In the light, I could not get sanded out. Learn from my mistakes.
Or, that's wrong. You go with it, and then the next pass.
Don't sand horizontal if you absolutely need to. Just concentrate it to your blemish pitting.
Pass, you go against it.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. So this pass, we're going to try to work these really deep rust spots. Maybe it's blood. I hope it's blood. I hope somebody was able to get a kill. I had a great hunt back in the 60s, 70s, maybe 80s, and just pulled a stupid and didn't wipe the blood off the rifle, and it set up and rusted. That would be cool for me because, well, that shows that somebody was out enjoying their firearms and enjoying God's creation and enjoying and partaking in the great outdoors and going out and finding and seeking their own food and enjoying probably, I'm hoping with the shotgun, somebody else's company and enjoying maybe a father and a son hunting together, maybe on a dove hunt. I don't know. This is just my imagination here. It ended up in a pawn shop where I purchased it. And, well, I'm sorry, but this is what happens when these guns go to pawn shops and they're priced too high and they sit around for several years. They rust apart before anybody has a chance to do anything. So luckily, I was able to come across this and pick it up and scoop it up. And my best attempt to save it. If anything, maybe I can preserve it enough that later on down the road, somebody that's a professional will be able to do something with this and make this into a piece of beauty that John Moses Browning intended it to be. And, well, you know, I'm just trying to do my part and be a good steward of this. I'm going to start trying to sand and work this metal now. So like I said, first things first, let's start casually on the bottom.
Once again, if you sand horizontally, save it for finer grain paper and keep it concentrated to the spots you want to remove or it will look like hot garbage.
I want to make it clear that I'm doing my very absolute best to stay off the engravings with this block sander or any sanders. I'm trying my best to stay with the contours of the shotgun. I don't want to go over because I'm not trying to make any hard edges. Right now, 220 grit, probably people watching this that actually know what's going on are probably rolling and shaking their fists like, oh, dude, please don't. Hey, man, I got to learn for myself because I got to see the process. We'll get there. We'll get there. This is really gross sounding, so I'm definitely going to be putting some music in with this. We went this way, now we're going this way. If that makes sense. I can't tell if you guys can see, but you see how I've still got some grit going this way? Well, the goal is we really want to take as much of that, if not all of it, and we want to do away with that long ways grit. Now we're going horizontal, and so I said I just want to make sure I point that out. And we'll get there. What we've done is you can see how we went cross thatched it. Some of this stuff, like so, I'm trying to find my finger in the camera, should buff out whenever we put steel wool on it. What we're doing is we're trying to blend all this, because when you rust blue, I already know, because I've seen pretty bad jobs, and chances are a lot of you guys have too. You could see these sandpaper marks where people were prepping and didn't do it all the way right. So I've got a little bit more cleaning up to do, and then we are going to move into the next one is steel wool. So just check it out. The way that light's hitting it, you'll see what I'm talking about. So I've still got a little work. Okay, we've buffed and buffed and buffed with that steel wool. We've got a lot of the vertical scratches. They're more finer, which has went over a lot of the horizontal scratches. They're not as easy to see. There are a few there. So now, lastly, what I'm going to do is do a buffing pad, and we're going to see if this will finish this out and smooth this all make it all look real good. I personally, if you can see it now, trust me, you'll be able to see those scratches once that bluing gets on there. I already know. So now we're going to try this buffing pad. The steel wool might have been a little too soft. I don't know. It was just a lot of effort to get a little, not as many results. So we're going to take this buffing pad and go from there. Okay, guys. All right, after that last, with this, I ended up not liking it. So what I did was I went back to the 320. I kept it on block, and I did sandpaper. And I went through and I went to my spots that I didn't like, and I lightly cross sanded them. Lightly until I got it to where it was blended or faded out. And I went through all my little straight streaks. You can still see some of them, maybe. There's a few in there. But what I did was I went to all my with the grain streaks, and I went lightly over them, lightly, all in one direction until I got them kind of blended and faded out. Then our good old friend Steel Wool stepped in, and I polished and polished and polished until I felt like it was good enough. You know, just little round circular polishes. And then after that, then I pulled out the buffing wheel. And this is, in my mind, this is what we're looking for, this type of finish. Now, I'm not worried as much about some of this old bluing that I didn't really take off. That's actually pitting. This is pitting. This cleaned up. I mean, well, that's pitting. I'm trying to get the camera to focus in. Some more pitting on the other side, and then there obviously is pitting in the oak leaf, but you can see it a lot better. And at the end of the day, that's the goal. Also, take note, because I didn't realize this until I was already really invested. On the back of this receiver, I'll have to hold it upside down. On the back of this receiver, I had went vertical, and it just didn't look right. And then I realized that I needed to go long grain, or across the grain on it. So I didn't blend it as much, and I still got a little bit of work to go on it. But I just went ahead and did this long grain as well. So with the exception of cleaning it up, we've obviously got some gummy bull crap in there that I need to get out. And I still got to boil it. But with the exception of that, I am satisfied with this for rust bluing. Next step, we're going to work on a trigger guard. Trigger guard in question here. You see we've got some rust in some really inconspicuous places. It's going to be a little hard to get to. A lot of times you would probably want to convert a lot of this rust, but some of this is pitting. So I need to address that. I don't want to have to convert it and then scrub it flat. And I'd rather just go ahead and scrub it flat, at least in my mind. I may be backwards, I may be wrong. I'm a beginner, and I'm going to learn one way or the other. So anyways, same way. We probably can go ahead and start with 320, because I don't think there's anything crazy here. Okay, here's the barrel. Here is a couple of spots we'll have to address. But for the most part, it really isn't as bad. There's a few light spots that we'll get. And then, well, some of this is just dirt and grime. Just to clean it would clean a lot of this up. Some of this little sugar spot rust. It needs to be taken back down to the good metal. So we'll get started on that. So what I'm going to do is, there is some light pitting, but I kind of want to see what steel wool will do. And I know steel wool will save most of this right here. So some of that little bitty sugar rust that you can see as I spin the barrel in the light, We'll try to see what steel wool, our friend, thinks of that right off the bat. All right, buds, friends, pals. You could see with just steel wool, we were able to take a lot of that stuff back down without, you know, I mean, we've got little light blue marks where that rust was, and it'll always be there until we re-blue it. You can see that as I roll it over in the light. Some places, into this. All right, you see that? That's a big rust pit. There's one right there. Moving on down, right there, which for me, it's not ideal because that is right next to that writing and in between a lot of your proof marks and your stamping, things like that. So I'm just gonna do my best and I'm gonna forget the rest. Like I said, we gotta learn it somehow, guys, and well, the only way I know how to do it is just jump in and try it out. Sink or swim, as they say. So now that we know what we're working with, we know that we only have to worry about spending the energy on this. That's our big one. Then the barrel's pretty big, and then just a couple of small light ones. So what I'll do now is I'm going to bring in. Oh man, who was that? Who was that guy? Gun Larry. Did you call for Gun Larry? Why do you have so many guns? Why is that any of your business? Got him! I'll see myself out. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, we'll see you around. So this right here is our pitting that we're going to address. What I've done is I've cut sections of sandpaper. I'm gonna go heavy right now. I'm gonna go with 180, 220, then the 320, and then I've got 600 grit. And we're going to do these rust pits. I think I can take this one down to 100%, make it look really good. The only thing that I've got to watch out for is I don't want to touch any lettering. I don't want to remove anything. But we're going to start with some sections of 180. I've already cut them into strips small enough for me to work. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back and forth over this, making just keeping it round, keep from filing flat spots in. And what I'll eventually do is I'll start here and I will work my way out a little bit. So I'm going to start this now. Now we're going to go to the 220 grit. You can see how it's mostly been removed. I'm doing my best not to overlap and get into this writing. There's actually some writing on the top portion of the barrel that I almost got into. I'm really close. So now moving to 220 grit. All right, now we're moving to the 600 grit. This should get those cross scratches, should blend them in a lot better. Okay guys, now that we've done 600 grain, you can see we've gotten it cleaned up. What I'm going to start doing now is I'm going to bring steel wool in, and we're just going to do circular. This is really fine, so it will never mess up this finish. Okay, all right. Now the fifth step, and that's bringing in a buffing pad, and we're going to polish this up, and it should look really, really good afterwards. So now you can see we were able to take away that the pitting. So we took care of that pit, and honestly, I think it looks pretty good. And then for the most part, this one we're looking pretty good. The steel wool took a lot of the sugar rust off. I'm ignorant, guys. I did not even have y'all on camera. It took a lot of the sugar rust, the little bitty rust spots off. You can see it in the form of that missing bluing. I am learning, and well, I'm just gonna get better the more I do this. Okay, guys, what we've got is we've got to polish all these parts, and then we got to start working on this trigger group. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start that. We'll start with screws first. Just drop 2 or 3 of them. What I've got is I've got that 320 block, and what I've been doing on a few of these is I'm taking and I'm running long ways down this screw head because I don't want to burr or round off these slots. So what I'm doing is I'm taking it on my block, and like I said, keeping it at a 90-degree angle perpendicular towards me. I am going down and that caught. Anyways, just doing this back and forth just to get those burrs from previous attempts cleaned up. So now I will fast forward as I work my way through this. Since it's going to be an exposed part, I'm going to spend a little bit more time. Instead of with the 320 block, we're going to take it with the 600 now, and we're going to go cross thatch, try to smooth it out a little bit. So that's what I'm going to be working on now. What I'm going to do is get these screw heads cleaned and all these small parts cleaned and degreased, and then we'll get ready for rust blowing. Okay.
Thank you for watching. Please consider watching the next video in the series. I love you guys.